What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And we're back. Make sure you go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we've said before, make sure you share it with somebody else. Go to our clips channel, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips, and share it with somebody that you know. Let them know that the podcast is out there. Watch them, subscribe, all of that stuff.
All that good stuff.
So, yeah.
So we are recording episode.
Anyway, it's the next week for you guys.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter.
Yes. But we are wearing the same
We're back to back.
So.
Yep. We're getting caught up again.
Yes.
Because like we said, it's been retreat week and Rubik's Cube week and
yes,
work trip week. So
if you want to hear about the retreat and how it went, you're going to have to listen to the previous episode.
Yep. All about releasing traumas and all that stuff and
having
and
fun,
how your retreat went. Yeah. It was,
yes.
You guys had a magical weekend.
Yes,
That's awesome.
to say the least.
So yeah, like we were talking about last week, while you guys were at your retreat, Joey and I had a Rubik's Cube tournament, his first Rubik's Cube tournament. So Joey's been into Rubik's Cubes for about a year, and he just kind of like picked it up off of YouTube. He had a Rubik. I think it's kind of like every kid that gets into it, if they get into it, like he had a Rubik's Cube for a little while, and you just kind of look at it, mess it up, and then you're never able to solve it again.
Right.
And then he found the video on YouTube and solved it, and then did it again, and then like kind of started figuring out the patterns, and then like started solving it faster and faster, and then he like started getting fast with it.
Right. Yes.
You know? And which like sparks his curiosity for things, and then he starts sharing it with us, and then we start finding out like, all right, there's different types of cubes, and there's all these other things, and then there's tournaments and all this stuff. And we watched
it's a thing.
Yeah. There's a documentary on Netflix about it, and it's freaking insane. Like the fastest kids in the world, I think the world record right now for a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, which is the one that everybody knows, is like, it's under 4 seconds. It's like 3 point something.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like they scramble it, and under 4 seconds it's solved.
Yeah.
Insane. And Joey solves that one in under 40 seconds. He'll get it in about 35, which is freaking crazy. Like I watch his fingers move, and I'm just like, that's freaking nuts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But no, it was awesome. So we had a 2-hour drive to Tucson. And so after, like I said, I went and drove up to Pine Top to drop off all the stuff for your retreat. Mm-hmm. And then drove back another 3 hours. And then that was on Friday. And then Saturday morning, we were leaving. His tournament started at 6.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. His tournament started at 8. So we had to leave. I mean, it takes 2 hours to get there.
Right.
And you don't want to get there right when it's freaking starting. So we had to leave like at 5:45 in the morning. So I get back from driving 3 hours from Pine Top on Friday. I pack a bag, set my alarm for like 5 in the morning the next day, and, grab something to eat. Me and Joey fall asleep, and we're just excited for the next day. So we wake up early and we take off. And when we were on our way over there, he was telling me that his stomach was feeling a little funky, right? So anyway, we show up, we get a little something to eat on the way. He starts competing, and he's doing awesome. He's doing the 3x3. I think he did the 2x2 the same day. So the tournament was Saturday and Sunday. And he got to meet some kids there that were like super fast. There were some kids there that were, like 5, 6 seconds on the 3x3.
Wow.
Freaking insane. And he met this one kid that was like 9 seconds, and he started talking to him and making friends. And it was cool to see him just be around all other kids that were into the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I think we've talked about on here before, just like finding what they're into, and one of the coolest talks that we had was on the way back home, because when we showed up to the tournament, like we look around and there's chairs, and we've been to a bunch of events, right? Me and you, Joey and Audrey have been to events with us. We've been to jiu-jitsu tournaments. We've been to other, events.
Baseball.
Baseball events, all kinds of stuff, right? So we go to this Rubik's Cube thing, and they have all the chairs set up for people that are watching. They have the chairs for the competitors and the tables. They have the people that are signing people in and taking score and all that kind of stuff. And They have the organization is kind of selling a couple t-shirts over here. And one thing that I noticed with Joey was when we were watching the Netflix documentary, I mean, this is just my brain, the way I think. No, this is just kind of my thinking. Like, my son has a passion for something, right? And if he's really passionate about it, like, how can he do that if he really wants to, right? And when you watch the Netflix documentary, everybody that does Rubik's Cubes has a job. Like, you can't live off of Rubik's Cubes, it seems.
Yes.
Right? You don't make money doing that. Like, you're passionate about it. But that's not the way I think, right? I'm like, they're not doing it right. As soon as we walked into that tournament, I'm like, oh, there's a big opportunity here. There is no, well, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to put it all out there because I'm going to save it for Joey.
Yes.
Because if he wants to do it, we could build something. Yes. I can see it. I'm like, dude, you could turn this into something. This is something that people are. There is a group of people that is passionate about this. And there is an opportunity here.
Right.
And we got to talk a little bit about like creation. And like, just because nobody has done it doesn't mean that it can't be done. Are there examples of that in other areas? Think about other events that we've been to.
Right.
We've seen differences. What can be done here that we've seen there? How can we be the ones to do that?
Right.
Right? For this niche.
Right. Yeah.
So, and if that's what he's like, that is a way for him to do what he loves for a living.
Yeah. Oh, it was super cool.
And so we did the first day he competes, meets all these kids. We had an awesome time. And afterwards, our tradition is that when he competes or does tournaments, we go get sushi. So me and him went and we got sushi together. And like I said, his stomach was kind of feeling funky from earlier in the day. And we get sushi, which I guess does not help when your stomach is a mess. But he didn't
he's
say,
not going to say no.
He's not going to say anything.
He's not going to say no.
Sushi is like his favorite thing in the world.
Right.
So we go get sushi. After that, we're like, what's for dessert? And it wasn't a little bit of sushi. He freaking throws it down.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
He eats like a pig. So after that, we decide we find this Mexican dessert place and we go there where they have the strawberries and cream, sushi, fish with strawberries and cream.
No, really, babe?
So my dad, Jeff, when I told him about it, he's like, that's probably not that's not a good idea. I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about that at the moment.
Yeah.
But so that wasn't a good idea. And then so we get in and it was a big cup, like those Mexican strawberries and cream. And I'm like, dude, like you ate a lot. And just kind of messing with him, I'm like, dude, you want to get some ice cream? And he's sitting in the passenger seat. Like, we're pulling out of the Mexican spot after we got done eating. He's sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm just kind of messing with him. And I'm like, dude, you want to go get some ice cream? And he makes like a freaking, he's about to throw up. He's like, ugh. But I thought he was joking.
Right.
And I start laughing, and I'm like, let's go get some ice cream. Like, I start egging him on or whatever. And he like lowers the window and just starts projectile vomiting.
Poor baby.
Strawberries and cream
Shrimp.
and octopus sushi into the parking lot.
Oh my.
Like it was, and the funny thing is that, so there was people that were sitting in the window because they have the tables on the inside. We were sitting and parked like right up against them. So they're like looking out the window and we're like pulled out and his window's down and he's just like throwing up like while he's looking at them. They're laughing. He's throwing up and laughing. I was laughing. And then he like puts his head down and rolls up the window and we start driving down the street and all of a sudden round 2 kicks in and he lowers the window and just starts throwing up while we're driving down the street. It was, and I don't know, I can't remember exactly what it was in the moment, but we were laughing. He was laughing and throwing up, and it was just funny. So after that, we pull off to the side of the road so he can finish throwing up and not while we're moving. And oh damn it, missing opportunities here, babe. That's why I need a producer. Where's it at? See? Damn it. I needed that I needed that the whole time.
So gross.
See, it adds to the story.
Ew.
It adds to, so we're driving down the street. And Joey, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we stop and then I was like, dude, this is a fucking mess. Look at this car. Like your mom just got her car washed. And there's like freaking shit all down the side of it because we were driving like 40 and he's just out the window. And then So we look up a car wash, and I got some pictures that he's got his shirt off, and we're like pressure washing the side of the car and scrubbing it down, and then we went back to the hotel and we hung out, watched the movie, and just went to bed. And then the next day we went back to the tournament, and he competed again. So yeah, and we stayed at a hotel. We went swimming, and we just kind of made it like a weekend. You know, we could have drove back that night, but it was like, let's just stay there and spend the night together.
Well, I saw the pictures, and then when we started talking, he was laughing like about him throwing up outside the window.
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
Like, I was like, dude, you just freaking threw up $50 worth of sushi out the window. He's like, he's laughing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a blast.
Awesome. And then, and then when I came back, I was scrambling because you were gone. I missed you so much. So
Sunday is the last day of the tournament, right? And it's like 12 or something like that. And we drive back. So we get home like at 2 or 3. You're driving back from your retreat on that same day,
right?
With the car packed full of stuff.
Yes.
And 2 girls coming with you.
Yeah.
So you guys, I get home from the Rubik's Cube competition. You get home like shortly after that. And it's like unpacking the cars. Right. And then I had already kind of got my stuff together, so I didn't have to do that. But it was like spend a little bit of time together because I was flying out in the morning.
Yeah. Well, not even. So I wanted you to spend time with Michaela.
So I took Michaela out to dinner.
So I was like, and it's funny because I felt the little, like the little, I'm just like,
that's my little bit of time.
Right. But it's like, nope. I wanted you two to spend that time, together. And so, it was very cool just to see you two together and then being, sleeping together and I'm hugging you and she's hugging you or just like kind of sharing that space.
Yeah.
And then you leave and then we have a really good time together.
Burning the documents that we talked about last week.
Yeah. You guys got to listen to
the last podcast. Yeah.
And then it was Joey's graduation. So I'm
oh my goodness
running around
the kids are out of school
together, and Audrey has things going on too. And
so Joey finished 6th grade this week and Audrey, well, this is a week later. Audrey finished her freshman year of high school. Holy shit, dude. This is crazy.
Aw, they're getting big. They're already big.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're getting big so fast. They're
Audrey
went
to her first house party yesterday.
Oh
like you called her and she's got music bumping in the background. She's like, sorry, Mom, can't talk.
I didn't even know. So I thought they were just going to main event, which is, like a huge arcade, right? And I had something that I was doing yesterday.
Yeah, you were looking up the spots for the next retreat that you guys don't want to miss.
Yeah, we were talking about that. And so I had something that I was doing, so I couldn't take her. So you ended up taking her, but she was telling me something had changed, but I didn't know what the heck she was talking about. I'm like, I got to go. And then when I come home, I call her because I'm missing her. And she answers, and there's music playing in the background. I'm like, hey, girl. She's like, hey, Mom. I'm like, where are you? She's like, at a party. I'm like, a party? What do you mean a party? She's like, yeah, it's a graduation party. And I said, I thought you were going to main event. And she's like, oh, Dad didn't tell you? And I'm like, no. She's like, we went to main event for a little bit, but then my friend's older brother or whoever was having a graduation party. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I just got done dancing and my side was hurting because I was dancing so much. And immediately when she told me she was at a high school party, I'm like, are any of the kids drinking? Right? Yeah.
Well,
because I know we were.
Well, you are like,
right?
You were busy. When she was asking me, like, can I go to this party? I'm like, whose party? She's like, oh, my friend's older brother is graduating high school. And I'm like,
right.
Hold up. Who's at this party? I was like, is his parents going to be there? He's like, yeah, the parents are going to be there. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So we're talking on the phone and I'm like, are there kids drinking there? And she's like, no, Mom.
Yeah.
She's like, Daniel and I would feel awkward if there were kids drinking. And it's so funny because she's so innocent. Like, I'm sorry.
At her age, I was toe up.
No, I don't know if I was. She's a freshman. I don't know if I was.
We were already drinking 40s in the park.
What? See, yeah, no, you were doing some shit.
Juan was rolling empty 40 bottles down the street.
Yeah, no.
And then acting like we were in the WWE, like doing the entrances.
But I just remembered like our high school parties, and I'm like,
Yeah.
But it was so cute just to hear her, and it was her first high school party. So I was just like, oh, I didn't know my baby was at a high school party.
Yep.
You know?
It's crazy. They're freaking, oh man, we're getting old.
Yeah, she's going to be she's a sophomore. We're going to have a teenager.
Joey's going into junior high?
He's going to be 13 in October.
Jeez.
Man. You know, I know we've said this before.
Yeah.
Parents, make sure that you continue dating your significant other. I hear it so many times where the parents become empty nesters and they are so disconnected from their loved one because they've been so focused on the kids.
Yeah.
You and I have been really good at dating each other, continuing to grow our relationship as well as individuals. Yep, making sure it's spicy in the bedroom. Because it's just so important that you continue to do that. I mean, I'm looking at our kids, not that we're rushing them to move out, right?
No, we've talked about that. They don't got to play by all those rules.
Right.
We'll figure it out.
You know, but they are going to get to that age where they want to hang out with their friends. Even though Audrey likes me around her friends and her friends like being around me. And so do Joey's friends. Yeah. Oh, Joey had a party.
Yeah, that was fun too. A graduation party.
So like, I don't mind my house being the house. Matter of fact, I rather have my house be the house.
That's a good point that one of our old friends, our neighbor, you know, he told us when, and it was something that really, it's like somebody says something sometimes and it could be something small like that. And it's like, oh, yeah. And one thing he said, like he was always like, he was fixing up his house and he did have like people over like often. Right. And it was like, yeah, if the kids are going to be hanging out, I would rather my house be the house that they hang out at. And it was like,
right.
Oh shit. Like that's a great idea.
Right. You know, so I am that parent. Like I want the kids to, you know, feel comfortable here and want to hang out here. So when Joey had, and that was like his first party like that, where, you know, and so we invited some of his classmates for a swimming party. And that was what, Thursday? Yeah. It was on Thursday. And we hung out, we played board games and musical chairs, which was really fun. I had them dancing. It was really cool. I didn't think they were all going to go for it. They all went for it. They were all dancing.
No, they're all good kids. You know, the most awesome thing is like that they're still kids. Right. They're not, and I think maybe it's a combination of a lot of things, you know, like for us, but us being the way we are as parents has a big part to do with it. Us moving has a big part to do with it. Yes, you know, like those are things that you don't think would have an effect, but they have an effect. Right. Because if we could still be who we are. We could have turned out exactly the same, but we could be living on the other side of town. Right. That's different experiences. It doesn't mean that the kids would turn out differently, but they would have different experiences. And maybe we would have had to explain some things, or they would have gone through certain things that, you know, we would have had to work through. Yeah. It just all depends.
So Joey had a friend here that I had not yet met, but he lives in the neighborhood, right? Yeah. And so when I met him, Joey says, do you know why I like him? And I'm like, why? He's like, because he still has an imagination.
That's awesome.
Because kids that have to grow up fast lose that. Yeah. When they're not playing outside.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
When they're inside on video games all the time, they don't know how to play. They don't know how to use their imagination. Yeah. You know, but when he said that, I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, and he enjoyed being around us because we got together. We were playing, what's that game, babe?
One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Yes. You guys can pick it up on Amazon through our link. Yeah. It's an awesome game. If you guys have ever played the game that the kids play, Among Us. It's kind of like that, but it's in card form and there's different options. It's a really fun game.
Yes. And so you might as well just get into our ads.
Like if you guys are going to pick up One Night Ultimate Werewolf on Amazon and you guys want to shop through our link, or if you want to do any other Father's Day shopping, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Oh, they could do that by going to oppositesattractpodcast.com and clicking on the support the show tab.
Yes.
And that'll take them to our Amazon link.
Yes.
Yep. And you guys can also find us by searching Opposites Attract Podcast. Like we said before, the best thing you can do is share it with somebody else. Find our podcast clips channel on YouTube, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips, and share it with somebody that you know. Subscribe, because I know a lot of you haven't subscribed to that one. So find it and subscribe. It looks the same as our primary channel, just with the red logo, and it's for the clips. So yeah, help us out.
And if you would like to support the show in a different manner, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and buy us a virtual drink. And you can subscribe to that on a monthly basis as well.
Yep.
So make sure that, for one, you are continuing to date your significant other.
Yeah.
And that you are the house that all the kids want to hang out at. And sometimes it can be like, oh my God.
Yeah, and the house is a mess.
Right? Like sometimes it can be, but just know this. One day you're going to walk into your house.
And it's going to be spotless.
And empty.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, you got to think about these things. You got to be aware of these things.
Those are the things that I have to remind myself about.
Yeah.
All the time. I remember a question. There was a question. I don't know where it came from, but Adriana, there was a few questions she was answering. And it said something like, it was a question about me. And she said something like, she would appreciate a clean house, but because she has us kids, that's not possible. Or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
her kids make it impossible to have a clean house. The clean house that mom wants.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
So there was a video that I wanted to share with you that I've been telling you about. It's about Cat Williams.
Okay. So you're not going to make me cry. It's going to make
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's surprisingly, it's not going to make you laugh.
Oh.
Probably won't make you laugh either.
Oh.
But yeah, let's check out this video of Cat Williams talking about the game of golf.
Golf is this thing where 18 times they set you up with the challenge and they put obstacles and hazards in the way, and you have to try to navigate your way safely and try to do as much as you can, but you learn that if you do more than you can't do that, and there will be things that happen. And so all of the things that I like about life in general are on the golf course. I look at nature and all the things that really mean something to me. And golf requires you to experience all those beautiful things, but then every shot requires you to block all of that out.
Wow.
And just focus on the task at hand. And you don't have the opportunity of doing it again. You're going to do it once, and you're going to live with how that works out. And if you can get that on the golf course, you can translate that everywhere. The fact that you can have 3 magnificent shots in a row that has no bearing on your ability to three-putt. like you can't afford to be high or low. You have to stay focused, and that translates all the time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's good, huh? That is on YouTube from the channel Mentality Golf. It's called Golf Perfectly Explained.
Yeah.
You know,
that is life. Like that is life in every area of life. Like we were just talking about kids, parenting.
If you try to do too much, things are going to happen. You know, like what he's talking about is like, if you like, you're trying to get this ball as far down there as possible, as close to the thing. But if you don't control your shot, that ball, it's a tiny little ball that's going to go, you're doing too much and you're going to pay for it, you know? And I don't know if that's kind of like where you were going, but when you do too much with the kids, like, and maybe that's like not letting them fail.
Right.
Like not allowing them to learn lessons on their own.
Yes.
You're doing too much.
Yes.
They're going to pay for it.
Right. And it is difficult to do.
That's one of the hardest things.
One comes up for me.
What is that?
It's when Adriana, Joey, when Joey missed the bus. I'm at the gym. He calls me up.
Yeah.
He was messing around. Missed the bus. I'm like, dude, you have a bike. But at first I was going to come home. But then I'm like, it was like maybe me getting back in the gym. There was something. I'm like, I was like,
it was like day one. It was day one. You're trying to start a routine.
Yes. And then I get that call and I freaking knew it. Like I was going to wait.
Yes. That's what it was.
And I'm like, nope.
Not going. Not going.
Get on your bike and ride your ass to school. Right? And it was hard for me as a mom to do that. And another one was Adriana.
Well, before you move on, you know that's not the first situation this has come up.
Probably not, but that's the first one that came up to me.
This has happened years ago with our nephews.
Oh.
What happened when they missed the bus?
Oh, yeah.
And where was that school?
That's right.
And what happened?
Dude.
Walk your ass to the school. Why? Because you need to learn. Right? But it's hard. It's hard to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one was...
They were also in high school.
Yeah. Another one was Adriana forgot her lunch. And I can't remember this time, but I don't know if I had reminded her. It was when they first started like making their lunch or there was something else that was involved. Maybe I had told her to put it in her backpack. It was something like that.
Right.
And she wasn't paying attention. She was doing something else when she shouldn't have been doing something else.
And you, on top of it, you don't even have to say anything, but you did.
Right.
You shouldn't have to say anything.
Right.
But you did.
And she didn't listen.
Like they do.
Right.
Like kids do.
And so, dude, for reals, I remember this. I took her lunch. It's when I was coaching actually with Steve. He put this. He's the one who got me to recognize.
I remember that.
Because I was late to see him.
Because you went to go take her lunch.
Because I had to go take her lunch.
Yeah.
So when I met with him, first of all, it felt shitty me being late. Paid $12,000, right? Like for this
But hold on, I got to go take my daughter a $4.50 lunch real quick.
Right, like I'm going to be late. Right?
To my $12,000 coaching appointment.
And when I got there, he's like, why did you take her lunch? Oh, because I didn't want her to be hungry. I didn't want her to.
Yeah.
Right?
And
he's like, and what if you would have not taken her lunch, would have she been okay? It's like getting her to take responsibility for not. She could have did without and learned her lesson. But instead, I went to rescue her.
Yeah. There was a good video that I just saw from Jocko from The Way of the Warrior Kid on Instagram. Maybe we can watch that one next week. I got to remember exactly what it was. But it's like when it was about detaching, you know, as a parent. Like he was talking about how as a parent, well, he talks about as a leader, which being a parent is the ultimate leader.
Right.
Like that is what you do. You lead your household.
Right.
Right. And as a leader, how you have to detach yourself from situations. You cannot get wrapped up emotionally with whatever's happening in the situation. You have to be able to detach and look at it from a third person point of view so you can make sound decisions about what's going on and act accordingly without emotion also involved in it. And he was talking about how as a parent, it's one of the hardest things to do because they can hit those buttons and they are those triggers. And like we talk about, it's like a little mirror of yourself and they piss you off and all this other stuff. But when you really detach from this whole situation and you look at it, it's like, it's lunch. It's lunch and it's having to get to school that's like a mile away. Mm-hmm. These are the perfect opportunities for them to be hungry and learn. And remember to pack your lunch. And if you do it again, fuck it. You'll be hungry again and you'll learn. You're not going to die. Your stomach's going to hurt.
Right. You're going to be uncomfortable.
You know?
Yeah.
You're going to be late for school and you're going to walk in the middle of class and they're going to be like, where have you been? We've been here for an hour already. Oh, I was late and I had to walk. Oh, and then you get embarrassed and you look dumb. You don't want to do that again. And the next day you're a couple minutes early to the bus.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But if you don't, kind of like Cat Williams was talking about, if you're doing too much and you don't allow them to make these adjustments, they're not going to learn from these. And they're going to learn this lesson eventually, but the cost is going to be greater. It's not going to be walking, like being late to school. Right. It's going to be being late to a job that could have changed your life, but now you're not going to get it and you're getting fired.
Right. Yeah. Freaking another one popped up recently. So Joey wanted to have a swimming party. I went, got him some invitations, right?
Yeah.
And he was going to write them out, but he had a lot going on, so I decided to write them out for him. And they disappeared. We could not find them. I don't know if Michaela misplaced them.
They just got put
Audrey,
somewhere.
They just disappeared. And I'm like, dude, I'm not buying you any more invitations. You need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And he did. He went upstairs and started handwriting invitations.
Yeah. That's good.
So me being the mom, knowing that another mom is going to see this invitation, right? It's something like,
you want to go help them.
Yes. You know, but I'm like, nope, not doing it.
Let them do it.
Not doing it. Nope. Yeah. Because I told him, dude, put the invitations in your backpack. Yeah. They were on the table. Put them in your backpack. He didn't listen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's crazy because I didn't even think that many kids were going to show up. As many as showed up with that, with that invitation.
No, it was awesome to watch all the kids and, him have all his friends over and have a good time. Yeah.
It was a reminder for me to give my inner child to play, or giving my inner child permission to play, to continue to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Having all the kids around.
Right. And like I said, when they were playing musical chairs, first I asked them, because I'm like, are these kids going to want to play? They're 6th graders. And they were like, oh, yeah. So instead of walking around the chairs, I'm like, okay, well, you guys have to dance. And I thought that they were going to give me shit about that, but they didn't.
They started twerking.
They're just acting silly.
That's funny.
And that's when I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Make sure your house is that house. That's awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, like we mentioned, the kids are out of school, and another thing that's kind of been happening that we haven't really talked about because it's not a big deal, but we have like this little overhang thing that was kind of falling apart there for a little bit. It's like really nice in the backyard where we kind of hang overhang out. And it's this thing made out of wood, and we had like vines growing on it, and it's grown to like this size that it was never meant to be that big, but it's just beautiful, like this giant bush thing. And it's destroying all the wood because it's so heavy. So we had to get it fixed. And you were telling me about a situation with our friend that was fixing it and our dog. And also recently, because the kids are out of school, it's like, well, what are they going to do? And we have our pets. And one of the first things that we thought is like, they need to give our dog a bath. Mm-hmm. We have this pit bull, Jane, and she's a sweetheart. Like from the day that we got her, she was like super loving. She's a little rough, but she's super loving. Like she'll freaking bite you.
She gets
excited.
Yes.
But she's a sweetheart. And those types of dogs, like they're always just amazing. So loving.
Yes.
But she's been a dog that since we've had her, since she's been a puppy, like those dogs are known for hip problems, and she's had a hard time with her hips. Like from the time she was weeks old, I remember right from the beginning, I fucking spent like $300 taking her to get x-rays done. And they're like, oh yeah, her hips are fucked.
Yeah.
Like it's like $15,000 for each hip. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No. So we started, and we gave her medicine. And then it turns out like she has to take this medicine for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And you can tell like it makes her gain weight and she's a
Right.
little uncomfortable, but she's always just happy, right? But there is things that you kind of tell. Like she's not always the most comfortable. She's still like she's happy for the most part, the majority of the time. And like I said, the kids are out of school and I look at her and I'm like, it's time to give her a bath. But then I also, like I was telling Joey, I'm like, hey, come here for a second, you know? And I just talked to him about that. And I'm like, dude, you know, like we've had Jane for a while. I was like, and the entire time that we've had her, like we all know she has hip problems. And you can tell that she has trouble moving around and that sometimes she struggles or she'll make some noises. Like she's not always comfortable, you know? And what is one thing, this is what I told Joe. I was like, what is one thing that you know makes her happy? Like what makes her super happy? And he's like, love. Love from us. And I was like, yeah. I was like, so we need to give her a bath. I was like, but when you give her a bath, I was like give her a bath. Like give her, like rub her down. You know, give her a massage and, you know, just make her feel good.
Yeah.
You know, because that's all she wants, you know, and she's got it rough. She's got to take this medicine. She's uncomfortable. Yeah. And all she does is freaking love us and make messes that we have to freaking clean up, you know, but still it's all love, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
That's what's freaking rough. You know, like shit, man, you have dogs, you have pets like that and they will teach you patience. And if you're that way, if you get that awareness and that,
there's a lot that they can teach you.
Because man, at the end of the day, kind of like we have our oldest dog, man, we've had her for 16 years.
Yeah.
17 years almost.
16,
like that's crazy.
Years. Yeah.
We're just looking at her today. She's just been incredible, you know?
And she's going blind and she's having accidents. And she was our first kid.
You know, and when I look at her, like I feel it's not the same, not similar to a person, but it is almost like the love. Like you can see that she's getting older and it's like, I want to be there, you know, and love her and spend time with her and know that we're here, that we love her.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's a family. Like we as a family are that way with our pets. The children, they were here before they were born.
Yeah.
Well, not Jane.
Not Jane, but Nisi was.
Nisi. Yeah. Nisi was here before they were born. And so though she is my dog, she follows me everywhere.
Oh my God.
Everywhere. And she'll cry. Like
she's been on the podcast multiple times.
Yes.
She's the guest star.
Right. Audrey has a respect for her and so does Joey.
Yeah.
Like they love her. And
dude, she gets jealous of the kids.
No,
yes.
Funny. If Audrey's on my lap, yeah, she's
but
like,
it's funny now because she's so old.
Right.
It's like she gets like the what is it? She gets the pass or like
right.
seniority or something.
Right. It is funny though. But yeah, that's going to be a hard one. That's going to be a difficult one, you know, and it's the cycle of life. You know, when we really take in that's just part of life. To live is to die.
Yeah.
Right?
The yin and the yang.
Yeah. And it is what it is. When you realize the truth in that, you will grieve differently. Like you will still, that's why it's so important to love.
Yeah.
And not take time for granted.
Yeah.
To be in the moment. To be
enjoy
mindful.
Those moments, yeah.
To enjoy the challenges as well.
There is, I think in The Power of Now, he was talking about something, and there's something that I want to get back to with the animals, but it's like being, you have these moments of being in that present moment, right? Mm-hmm. But then the next level is being aware of those moments and being able to be present in those moments. Like the beginning is just having those moments in the first place.
Right.
Right? It's like, oh shit, look at that. Wow. The beauty of all, and it just kind of happens, right? Kind of like exactly. Right. Like a baby.
When the baby first notices its hand, it's like, what?
That's so funny. That Terrence Howard thing. He's like, what is that? It's my friend.
Yeah.
You know?
It's my friend.
But yeah. And then the next thing is being able to notice when those moments are happening. Yesterday, I was standing outside and you were like, what are you thinking? And what did I tell you?
You're like, just being in the moment.
No, I'm enjoying the breeze.
Yeah, that's what it was. The breeze.
I was just like looking up into the sky or something.
Yeah.
There was another day that I was just somewhere and I just stopped and I just looked up.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah. You also you shared with me, we were talking about it a minute ago, about our friend that came and kind of did the whole, like redid our pergola and fixed it up for us. And there was a moment with our dog Jane.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And she, as sweet as she is, can seem aggressive. She's got a bark.
Yeah, she protects. She protects the home. She protects us.
Yeah.
And you weren't home.
But she's not mean.
No, she's not mean. She's not mean,
and
but she's curious.
She seems aggressive, but she's a fraidy dog.
You look at her and you're gonna back the up.
Yeah, but if you run at her, she might run away.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
She's a scaredy cat.
She acts
totally
tough.
A scaredy cat.
She acts tough.
She does. And this was very beautiful to witness. So he's working in the backyard and I was mopping.
Like Caesar Milan coming to fix our...
And so I went outside to hang the mop up so that it can dry, and Jane needed to go potty, so I let her go, and I watched her because she was going towards him, and I was watching him, and I noticed that he got a little stiff. So I went out there and
which is
called
not
Jane.
Uncommon,
right?
When we see people around,
and Jane was just sniffing him out, and he was okay, but I sat down because him and I started having a conversation. That's what it was. We started having a deep conversation, and I noticed Jane walking around him and that he was getting a little nervous, like he was scared of her. And I asked him, are you scared of her? And he's like, no, I'm just aware of her. That's what he said. I'm just aware of her. And I'm like, this is my kind of dude to have a conversation with. I could tell just by the way he was talking. And then, so we got into this deep, right. So we were getting into this deep conversation about spirituality because that's what I do. I don't know how and how that started, but it started. Right. And so he actually sat down. Right. Yeah. So he actually sat down. And when he sat down, Jane went up to him, like went up to his face, and he's just like standing stiff as can be. And I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, yes. I'm like, feel free to pet her. And he's like, oh no, I won't pet her until she gives me permission. Until she touches me, I will not touch her. So him and I kept the conversation going. And
was she in his face?
And she up. Her nose was near his nose.
Really?
But she was not touching him.
Yeah.
So that's when I told him, touch me. And he's like, no, I won't do that until she touches me.
So you guys kept talking.
So we kept talking and she was around him. Okay. And then finally she went up and licked him. Then he started petting her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool. He's like, yes, we have to respect their space.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like a huge lesson for me. Because if my cat, Sonny,
dude, you never know where it's gonna come from. It could be the guy that's fixing. Right. You know what I mean?
Right? No, for sure. You just never know. But that was such a good lesson for me.
That's cool. Yeah. No, when you shared it with me, I was like, holy shit, that's cool.
Yeah. And that's with everything and everyone. Because I'm a hugger. I go in for hugs. I don't ask you, can I give you a hug? No. I am that.
For some people.
I am love, and Sonja's going to be all up in your bubble, right? Yeah. And so that was a huge lesson for me in that, and also for our pets, because Sonny, we have this cat, and he is super adorable. Like, he's so lovable.
Oh, we got to share that story with our daughter. that likes to torture our cats.
Well, but who else does?
Yeah, you do.
Me too. So he's just so adorable.
Any of you that are of our age or of a certain age, I think that's what you say when you get old. Those of you that are of a certain age that remember the Looney Tunes Elvira, that's Sonia and our daughter Audrey with the freaking. They want to love them and squeeze them until they freaking pop their head on there, and they're like, "Get the hell away from me."
And so Sonny, like, he'll get up to eat. Right. And I'll see him and I'm like, oh,
that's when they love being grabbed the most.
So I learned some things from him. Like, okay. I'm like, okay, giving Sonny his space and giving them their space, letting them be.
Sonny thanks him for teaching us lessons.
Yeah. And with you, there's just no way. Because whenever I want to grab you or touch you, there's no asking you, no permission. No, you are mine and I am you and we are one. And
yeah. You do what you want.
So if I want to pinch your ass, I'm going to pinch your ass and I don't care where we're at. But you were the same way with me. So it's all good.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah. Right.
Speaking of which, we got an empty house. Holy shit.
I know.
But no, yeah, that was a pretty cool lesson.
No, yeah.
So I've been listening to a little bit more of The Power of Now. There's been a couple things. I'm just gonna keep listening to the book, and if things are popping up, I'll write them down and let them out. But one thing that kind of came up that was pretty cool. They were talking about like those moments of enlightenment, like when you have Satori. We were watching the thing with Alan Watts. That man, he's. The more I listen, the more I like the stuff that he talks about. But those moments of enlightenment in the book, they were talking about never come through fighting the body or having an out-of-body experience. One must always return to the body for enlightenment. You know what? That's a good question. This would be a good question for you. Would you say that when you had the experience with Bufo, right, with the DMT, that was like an out-of-body experience? Did you feel like you had an enlightening experience with that?
I didn't feel.
Do you feel like you've had an enlightening experience?
Oh yeah.
When?
Oh my
gosh. When was that?
India, big time.
Okay.
There was one before that, but India was huge.
So that compared to the DMT.
Very similar.
But you wouldn't say that the DMT was an enlightening experience?
It was confirmation for me.
So
I don't know. You know what? Yes, it was.
Well,
yes.
Because what I'm trying to get at is kind of like what this is saying. It's like you have to return to the body to have the enlightening experience.
Yes.
Like you can have that experience, but you still have to return. Like you have the experience, but it's after the experience that you have.
Where you wake up and you realize what happened. Yes.
Okay. So that's kind of what he's saying.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I wonder if the way he worded it is because like some people, like they've had those out of body experiences, which I have not yet had that.
You didn't have that with the DMT?
I don't remember the first part of it. Mine was very like I just felt the part I don't remember, right? Because I remember opening my eyes and being fully like connected with everything and everyone. Like we are one.
Did that feel 100%. Like an out-of-body
100%.
experience?
I can't say that because I don't know what an out-of-body experience means.
Well, I think if it was, you would say it was.
My spirit like left my body. You know what I'm saying?
I've had one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shared it with you.
But yeah, and for me, enlightenment, it's almost like for me to, it's almost like, and maybe too, it's because I'm further along in my journey. And I understand like spirit, at least I feel like I do. I know that I know that I don't know.
Maybe depending on,
and the way I think, the way I see.
That experience might affect you differently, or you might have it in a different way.
Yeah. Like it was all confirmation that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I know they say, you know, like we all don't know, really, that we don't know. I know that I don't know. But that Bufo experience for me was a knowing of we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's why we're here on this earth, to experience life in the way that we signed up for.
Yeah.
And we are all mirrors of each other, just at different stages and different levels.
And in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was another one here. This one was really interesting when I heard it. I was like, huh. One of those like, damn, I never thought about it that way. But it was something about, and maybe you can help kind of elaborate a little bit. And it was about all of our senses are different versions of the sense of touch. You remember that? It was kind of like, even, I think it might have been that lady that you listened to.
Oh,
maybe. I don't know. But it was kind of like, even your hearing is the frequencies or the vibrations of sound touching the bones in your eardrums. Mm-hmm. It's hearing, but it's the touching of the frequencies to your eardrums or to the bones in your eardrums that makes that sense. It's the sense of taste is the touching of the food to your taste buds, which gives you that sense of taste, but it's all different versions of touching. Like even sight is, you know, the reflection of whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but it was like, dang, that was a pretty cool way to kind of think about that. The sense of smell is all the shit particles hitting your nose when Jane farts.
Nice, babe. I was just thinking. Oh my God.
Is that what you were thinking?
No.
Or is this what you were thinking?
Oh my God, you're such a boy.
That's pretty accurate for Jane, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about that medicine. That medicine makes her.
I was thinking of,
we get into deep conversations on this podcast.
Like when we're intimate. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about like the difference before. Because sex is different for us today. Would you agree? Like what we share is 10 times more. God, how do you explain this? How do you explain
You know
this?
what?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
You know how you can explain it? We were talking about it, I think, in the beginning of either this podcast, but it was about love and like how love is built, right? I mean, we've been together, and that's the thing.
But it's not just the time.
No, it's not just the time, because you can be together and it doesn't mean anything.
Right. Or it doesn't happen.
Well, you know, I don't want to turn it into that kind of a conversation, but I've had this experience with jiu-jitsu, right? Where I'm just saying where like you're there, but you're not doing anything. And nothing's really happening. You're not making any progress. You're just kind of there. But when you're actually putting an effort into your relationship and paying attention to your wife and trying to make things better, and, you know, that becomes a part of it too. Like that is part of something that also grows. That has grown probably at the same pace as everything else in our relationship, right? As good as everything else has gotten, that sex has gotten that good too.
But why?
Because we've worked on it.
Because we worked on
fucking making love.
Really?
What are you saying?
I disagree with you. I mean, I've always been. I'm
not saying no. I'm saying it gets more like the love is more intimate right? Like when you're building love, the more you do it, the more intimate it becomes, the better it gets.
The more in love
you get.
You are with
right.
your significant other, the deeper and more sensual.
So imagine 10 years from now. Oh my God. My fucking head's going to explode. Both of them.
I feel it's that and.
Turn off the show, Mom.
I feel that it's that and becoming more conscious. Tapping into our senses.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're turning on every one of them and any others that have not been discovered.
Oh, we're discovering.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're still discovering.
It's being fully connected, being fully aware and present and in the moment. It's being 100% in the moment and paying attention to every touch, every taste,
every swirl. I'm just saying.
You know, and then having that internal love like for this person and the energy exchange that is happening. It's, you can't explain it. You can't put into, and I have an emotional chart, right?
Yeah. And still it's hard to find the words.
It's still hard to find the words of the dance that is taking place when we are intimate.
Yeah. You know, and a great way to go out.
And it's like, how do you teach?
Then that's what I was going to get
right?
at. Is a great way for us to go out is we've talked about in the past is like, how do you get to that point, right? Yeah. Where you're having amazing sex with your partner.
Right.
And part of that is also having a balanced life that you're not fucking stressed out. Like we love each other in the moment when we're doing it. It's not always angry sex. That's not, I mean, I guess that could be fun sometimes, but that's not always what you want to be doing.
Right.
Right. You know, and it goes, I think we've always kind of talked about the communication, like starting, if you don't have it, starting with the small stuff, the little things that you don't like talking about, the things that you just keep to yourself. It's like, I'm just not going to say that. And then just like, hey, if something's bugging you, is it something that's going to continue to come up? Is it something that you have to work out? Is it something that we have to figure out because we're going to be in this forever? Do you love them? Yes. Well, let's talk about it. What's the worst that can happen? We're just going to talk about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And if it starts to get out of hand, maybe we should put it down and come back to it later. And little by little, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember who I was talking to about that, but it was one of the biggest things for our relationship is I think it was one of my brothers, just like knowing you learned to just like let me be for a little while. Mm-hmm. And that we don't have to solve things right now, right here, all the time.
Right.
It's like, just let it be. And like I said, if things are getting out of hand, if you don't have the skills yet to have a conversation without it getting out of hand, then just stop. It's okay to just stop and just be like, you know what? I'd rather talk about this. Maybe we could talk about this a little bit later. I don't want to continue this conversation right now. You know, and hopefully the other person can respect that. And if you can say it in a way that, you know, is just calm and collected, then you can pick it up again later. But eventually you will sort these things out, you know, and little by little, the more you do that. Because one thing I told my brother too that I was great at was fucking holding a grudge. It's like when something was bad and I felt like it wasn't my fault, you fucked up or whatever, or you pissed me off. Well, fuck you then, and I'm holding a grudge. Mm-hmm. But the more you start talking about it, the sooner you can let that grudge go. Right. And just sort this shit out so that we can move on and be happy. And then little by little, something will happen, and it's like, not a big deal. And then you realize nothing's a big deal.
Right.
Nothing is a big deal.
Right. I shared this post on Facebook, and I want to read it. So it says, it's about, I'll just read it. Your grandfather proposed to me with a piece of candy. We had nothing. He knelt down and told me, I have nothing now. just a piece of candy. But if you want, we can build everything together. They asked her, these are the grandchildren. They asked her, and you, Grandma? I opened the candy, divided in two, and we ate it. From that moment, we divided and shared everything.
I love that.
We fell, we got up, and we built. All together. We have experienced difficult moments, tiredness, but we have always been there for each other until the last breath. Those were different times, Grandma. Not really, because time does not change the way of loving. What has changed is that you no longer have beautiful examples to follow. Now they are afraid of everything. They do not marry for fear of not being able to build. As soon as they fight, they leave because then they think they are going to find a better one. They always look for perfection as if it existed. They miss the perception of reality, of happiness in the little things. They do this big demonstration, $1,000 rings, over-the-top video from marriage proposals, and then they miss the moment. That intimate thing that you keep between two, only in two for a lifetime. This is what they lack. The courage to live life
Do you know
and
what
love.
that is? That's the little giggle. What's that little giggle? Say it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What's that little giggle?
Do you know, for us? It's like they're talking about having these elaborate thing and missing the moment.
Right.
And for us, that was that giggle. When you could see it in our video, when we're looking at each other.
Oh, you're talking about our marriage video.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the moment for us, I think. There's a few of them, but that was one of them. Is when we look at each other and we're laughing like we both fucking made it.
Right.
Like we'll remember that forever because we were both fucking hammered the night before.
I know.
Getting ready to get married the next day. And we didn't spend, we spent like $1,200 to rent that place to get our family there and our friends.
Yeah.
And then in the video, like you can't hear us talking, but you can
Right.
see us. And then we start laughing because we're like, holy shit, we're both here.
Right. Like we made it.
And we're getting married.
Yeah. This is what they lack. The courage to live life and love for what they are and not for how they imagined it. With a candy, love and courage, you have a life together. And when I read this, it reminded me of us. And I had posted it. It's like, dude, that was us.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have it all. We fucking built it.
Yeah. And that's exactly like what that post says. Like, if you think you're just going to go out and find, like, you're just going to go find that, no. Good luck. Like, and if you keep starting and stopping, kind of like I was talking about jujitsu, you keep starting and stopping, you're never going to get anywhere. You just got to keep going and keep growing at the same time. Yeah. Love you, babe. With that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we said before, share it with somebody else. Go shopping through that link for Father's Day. Help us out, right?
Yes, yes. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.